Hi everyone, my name is Elis, I'm Icelandic, and I love plants. I really love common plants, and I like to fill my home with all those delightful common plants. So January is done, we're now in February, and of course, I've bought more houseplants. So I thought this would be a good time to introduce you to my new plants. And since I'm Icelandic, I'm gonna tell you and teach you how to pronounce their Icelandic names, because they are quite interesting. So one of my first new plants of 2021 is your run-of-the-mill spider plant. Nothing says more common houseplant than a spider plant, and I don't have one. I've had plants for about 4 or 5 years and I don't have a spider plant. So I finally got one. And as you know me, I always get, well, you don't know me. I always get the tiny little ones and I see them grow because that's my whole deal. I got the one with the white striped variety. It already has a lot of little babies in the pot. So it'll be interesting to see when it gets warmer outside how this guy is gonna just explode out of this little plastic pot. I always like to keep my plants in a nursery pot and then put them inside of a decorative pot, but I found these really nice white pots at the dollar store that you can choose whether you have drainage holes in or not, and I think they make a great in-between pot. So it's the same size as the nursery pot it was in, but it has drainage, it's cozy and warm in here, and it looks nice. So in Icelandic, this plant is called veðhlaupari. I repeat, veðhlaupari. So veðhlaupari, if you translate it directly and you break up the words, it's literally a bat and a run. Another plant that I've added to my collection in 2021 and added to my prayer plant collection is this Calathea Orbifolia. When I got it, it had some damage on the leaves, some humidity problems, some transportation problems, but we're gonna get through it. I believe it's doing really well in my home right now. I have ramped up the humidity, it is 70% humid in here at all times and usually really warm. It has been pushing out new leaves. It just has been taking a little while to acclimate. I'm just happy that this damage hasn't happened in my care. This is how I got it, but I will nurse it back to health. One of the best indicators to recognize if your calatheas or your prayer plants are doing well in your home is if they are moving up and down as they should, because that means at least they are feeling good or being happy, because that's what they do in nature. It's really fascinating with prayer plants. They literally have a joint in their stem that they push water through and out to pull the leaves down and push them back up to make sure that they are getting as much of the sun as much of the sunlight as they possibly need. So in Icelandic, this plant is called rose feather or rosa fjöður. In Icelandic, most of the calatheas have names that are something feather. I do believe it is due to their foliage and how they behave. It is feathery-like. A lot of the calatheas have slim foliage, so it kind of looks like a feather. It might have started with the peacock because that's a bird, so we just ran with the feather name. And I'll say it again, rosa fjöður. This plant is called rosa fjöður, rose feather, which I think it's very appropriate and a beautiful name for a plant. And foliage is the feathers of plants. Another plant that I've added to my Calathea and prayer plant collection, because I like keeping the family tight, is Calathea Orbifolia. I hope that's how it's pronounced. The whole reason why I'm doing this video is because I am terrible at pronouncing the plant names, so I am teaching you how to say them in Icelandic, so you will maybe cut me some slack. Not that anyone has complained about my pronunciation, another word that I can't say correctly, but I thought it was a fun experiment. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I love big juicy green leaves, and I've seen these plants more mature and they just grow up to be absolutely gorgeous, and I cannot wait. Now, the Calathea Orbifolia doesn't really have an Icelandic plant name that is official, and usually like common names aren't official. It's a social construct. That's why like pothos is called devil's ivy, or it's called pothos, or whatever you want to call it. It is common name is a common name. It's like a nickname. But my plant idol in my favorite Icelandic Facebook group, and thank you so much to everybody in Stofublom, Inneblom, Pottablom. You've all been so wonderful to me. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. We have agreed, well, I like to think that we have agreed to call this one Parrot's Feather, or Páffuglsfjörður. Páffuglsfjörður. Now that is as easy to pronounce as Eyjafjallajökull. I think it's hilarious that even though Iceland is a Protestant nation, or at least we should be, we started out as heathen, that we usually, with our naming conventions, never resort to anything religious. So people here refer to these as prayer plants because prayers are generally connected to Christianity or religion. But we just went with, hey, why don't we call these feathers? Speaking of religion, this one, controversial names. Tradescancia Nanuk, which is actually a cultivar and a hybrid, because it's not quite as purple as it should be. I believe it was created by a mistake. We all know that its common name in North America is Wandering Jew. That is a fascinating history where that Wandering Jew name came from. I'm part of several plant Facebook groups. Some of them have explicitly in their rule, you're not allowed to call it a Wandering Jew. You should call it a Wandering Dude. And then I'm in a plant group that the first rule is, hey, we are Jewish and we call this plant a Wandering Jew. So we don't have any other like better name in Icelandic than Gangandi Gyðingur, which is an umbrella term for all of the varieties. So this is Gangandi Gyðingur Nanuk, sister Gangandi Gyðingsins. Beautiful plant. Doesn't have another name in Icelandic than Gangandi Gyðingur. And I don't know, this plant might be subject to political correctness as well, because who are we to call anyone dumb? Especially when you're a cane. The dumb cane plant is one of these plants that I kinda dismissed when I started hoarding houseplants, because I don't know, it just didn't grab my attention. And I also think like I didn't have any peer pressure to get one. But then I saw people posting photos of these huge dumb canes. I need plants with big lush green leaves. So I was like, okay, I must have one now. So when a couple of them showed up in the grocery store in the floral shop where I work at, I of course grabbed it. The reason why I saved this plant for the last is because it doesn't have a very creative Icelandic name, and for a good reason. So I believe in English you would say Diffentbakia or Diffentbakia. In Icelandic, we just say Diffentbakia. So in that case, we literally did not come up with a new Icelandic name for it. We just pronounce the English/German name with an Icelandic accent. Diffentbakia. And since I'm terrible at pronouncing the English common name for it, I'm probably going to be stuck with calling it that. I do not know why. I was trying to search Google for this, but the reason why this plant is called Diffentbakia is because of Johann Friedrich Diffentbach, who was a surgeon back in the 1800s. He is the one that would like kind of pioneer plastic surgery. That is really cool. I think it's really cool that we had plastic surgery back in the 1800s, because social media, access to cameras has not made us vain. We've always been vain. We've always wanted to look beautiful. We just are more aware of it. And somehow this plant got named after him or associated with him. It might be because this plant is toxic and unattainable beauty standards are toxic and dangerous. I don't know. But yeah, funny enough, Diffentbakia. Before we sign off, let's go through these plants again. Gangandi gyðingur, veðurhlaupari, Diffentbakia, páffuglsfjöður, rósafjöður. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you had fun. Please follow me on my social media. Soon as I'm over this hump at work and I have more energy, I promise there will be a lot of different things on all of my social media. My Facebook page and Instagram, I focus on posting informational stuff about plants. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye.